I mean, you can pretty much just go straight to the final now because England are going to win. You may as well just give him the cup now. We'll save all the. You don't have to complain about ticket prices then. Save your money.
Save your
just
money.
Give him the World Cup.
Yeah. You just go to the final. Yeah.
Just watch it on iPlayer. Don't even go. Just don't even turn up. Don't even turn up. Just watch it on iPlayer. 10 o'clock at night with a kebab, and when you're about 10 pints deep. Welcome to the Dockhouse Rugby Show. Today's guest is a former rugby league professional turned author. He signed for Hull K.R. at the tender age of 16. He played with the likes of Harry Poole, Bill Holiday and Frankie Foster. He was sold to Keighley in 1967, but now he's an established author with titles such as The Red and White Phoenix, The Adventures of a Hessel Road Lad and Save the Last Dance, to name but a few. This week's guest, and we welcome him to the Dockhouse Rugby Show, is Mr. Keith Pollard. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much, Kev. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome.
And it's an Hessel Road, Les. You don't pronounce the H,
Hessel. Right, okay. Hessel Road, lad. Okay. Well, you can tell us all about that shortly. But before we get into that, and we will come to you, Keith, I just want to say, currently we've had our first group games of the Rugby League, but there's been a big announcement today from Lee as well. I want to touch on that. Lee Centurions are now the Lee Leopards. So Derek Beaumont and his leopard print fashion looks to have taken the helm there, and he's stamped his authority, give it a big new change for the Super League and going into that. And I read something somewhere that Centurions is old, they're leaving the old behind, and a new era is coming for Lee. What do we think of that?
I think it's a brilliant idea. I think Lee will go well next year, to be honest. They've got some good players. I'd like to see where his salary cap, but then again, that's another story. But no, I think they'll do well. And Zach Hardaker's gone there, hasn't he? So
Yep. It was announced today. Zach Hardaker is now.
Yeah, I think there'll be one or two chairmen and coaches who'll be twitching at the minute, thinking of next season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. He's built a brilliant team there, Derek. He really has some really.
He's got to get rid of a lot. That's the problem. He's brought a team in that's got him into, which I don't think's right, But that's another story. He's got to get rid of what is he? 7 players he's got to get rid of. How he's going to pick the ones that's going, I don't know, because.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try and work ways around it as well, hasn't he? Because likes of Lamb, because young Lamb played here as a junior, he doesn't count on the international quota. And
he had a great game the other night.
Oh, fantastic!
Class player. Yeah, he's growing as well. I think he's developing and he's getting used to the English conditions. And it's a nice problem for Derek to have, really, and the coaching staff there at Lee Leopards to have all those players, and you having to move some on to make space. And it's a lot of modern sport is about branding. It really is about branding and trying to sell that brand and open up new markets for your business. So it sounds like a very good idea to rebrand as you enter into Super League. They've got the top looks good. I like the look of the top. So I think
it's like Rovers when they rebranded. They brought this new badge out, and they're just called the Robins now. And some of us old fogies, as dinosaurs, didn't go along with the idea. But we've lived with it. I've bought a new top with it on and what have you. So you go with the times, don't you?
Yeah. I've said it before on this show. The only person who truly appreciates change is a baby with a wet nappy. The rest of us struggle with change, but then we just eventually go, do you know what? Actually, it's all right.
Yeah.
We grow to accept it, and I hope they go well, because it's just going to raise the competition a little bit further, and it'll force teams to raise their game as well. So, next season Super League will be very interesting, but we've got a World Cup before then.
Yeah,
we have indeed. Yeah, like I say, do you know what? I am really, really enjoying the games, every single one. I know some scores have been a couple of larger blowout scores, but. Like I said before, them players in them teams like the Jamaica and that, they're getting to play with some top quality opposition. They're getting to play in a competition with NRL stars, Super League stars. Some of these guys are championship players or non-professional rugby players coming out and playing against some of the world's elite and the world's best. So it's only a good thing for the game, whether you're a supporter or not, whether you think that they got beat with 60 points. As for the growth of the sport and the betterment of the sport, they will learn from that. They'll grow.
It's all saying that the better players you play with and against, the better you'll play.
Yeah.
See, to be fair, going back again, when I started and I was playing with blokes like you mentioned, it was a lot easier playing with them as a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old than playing with, say, like Doncaster. No disrespect to Doncaster, but you're playing them alongside international players that have been there, bought the T-shirts, and it's a hell of a lot easier, and them kids that are playing for like Jamaica and the lower sides, if you want to call them the lower sides, they will benefit from it. And that young kid who played for England, Dom Young, is it?
Dom Young,
from Newcastle. His brother played for Jamaica.
Yep.
The wing, the big tall kid.
Yeah, massive,
and he was the older one. He didn't really obviously make it before. He was more interested in his job, I think. So he never really got into the game. Where Dom went to Australia, he won't get in any other field, so he went to Newcastle Knights. And comes back, and now everybody wants him.
Yeah. He's a hot commodity, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's for about £500,000 on his contract.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the problems in rugby league, is that just outside of that top elite level, it's quite a large drop off in terms of salaries, and it's often a discussion and a debate to be had whether you're better trying to force yourself into a team and get that contract, or to enter into the field of work because you can earn a good living by working. And some of them are on them fringes of that decision.
They've got even more money, haven't they? This year's 10 million to share between them, isn't it? And the money's no object. And so players, we're going to lose players, and we're going to get better players coming back from Australia because they can't get gigs there, right? Yeah. So they'll come to England, but like most sports, money's, if you want to call it, spoiled the game. I mean, we was getting 18 quid a win and £7 a loss when I played, and now they're paying well for that for a pound.
Yeah, they're probably getting a lot more than that now in Super League. But I mean, that's interesting to hear some of that history and how the game's changed, Keith, and we're looking forward to digging a bit deeper into that a little bit later.
Right.
Yeah. So let's just go back there. So Papua New Guinea played Tonga at the Totally Wicked Stadium. That one, Dave. You was in attendance at that game. What was your opinion of the whole event atmosphere? Was it full? Was it?
Loved it. Well, I took Dockhouse Nicola with me. She came along. And there's photographs on social media of us both in the stand. Yeah, I mean, the game day experience, first of all, it's different than a Super League game. It's different than a club game. You can feel the tension a little bit more. All the players stand a little bit taller. You've got the national anthems, and they put on a fantastic show. There was a bit of entertainment before, and the kids come out at half-time, dancing at half-time across the field with the different coloured tops on, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. They were having so much fun. They were so involved. They'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And they come back into the stadium. They've sat not too far from us, and they're so giddy and excited. They're cheering on the teams, which was just building a lot of the atmosphere as well. So it was just, I really enjoyed the match day experience. So there has been talk of the ticket prices, and that's probably another debate. But I do think it's a great game day experience, and it may be expensive in these times for some people, but if you can stretch yourselves to go along, you'll have a great entertaining day. And then the match actually just backed that up, didn't it? What a great game. Everyone expected Tonga as being one of the main favourites, full of NRL superstars, to blow teams away. And they didn't have it all their own way, did they? It was very, very close. And they only ran out winners by 6 points in the end, and that was down to a last-minute try. Papua New Guinea, I thought, were such worthy of whatever they paid them. they should have paid them double because they were so tough, and they were behind on the scoreboard in the second half. And I saw a noticeable change in the second half in the way they went into contact. They were losing the ruck very often in the first half, which was making it much more difficult for them, making it easier for Tonga. That second half, they were far stronger in first contact, which meant they were more likely to win that ruck. And I think that really changed the game for them. And that's why they come back into it with 2 scores. And they were so close to winning. There was a try, wasn't there, which... I know you'll probably bring up, wasn't it? Try.
Well, it wasn't given on the day, but that's what counts. That's all that matters. But, on the field, I thought, and probably a lot of other people thought it was, but it wasn't. So that's how it is.
Yeah, we take the referee's decision, regardless of what we think. And it was so close. And we were right by that final try. And Tonga were brilliant with the offloads, getting the offloads out. And I don't know how they were doing it, but they managed to get it out. And they kicked the ball through. And I thought there was a couple of Papua New Guinea players right next to it. And I thought, well, a couple of steps and they'll knock it out. Not a problem. I think they were running in quicksand. They were so exhausted. It's as if the minds were telling the legs to run and the legs weren't moving. And it was like they were in slow motion. And Tonga just had that little bit more fitness, which meant they got to that ball and scored that try. It was
it was clear from the outset that the Kilmos had come to play, right? I mean, they upped the scoring with Reece Martin, who's been a star at Leeds, hasn't he, this year and last year.
Yeah, good player, very good player.
I thought they was unlucky. To be fair, I thought it was robbed. What there again. They must take plenty of art from the defeat, though. I mean, I was talking to somebody. I mean, I know Stanley Jean and Macaulay Azu and blokes like that have been at Rovers, and somebody once said to me, tackling them is like tackling a tree. They're just solid, aren't they? They're not very big, but they're made out of rock.
Yeah,
tough, very, very tough. Yeah,
aren't they?
Yeah.
My agent. I was speaking to my agent today, and they were at a hotel swimming facility. They use the gym and the swimming facility, and she said there was a lot of chiseled men like oak trees. She said it was great. She said they were all in the pool. She said, I said, did you enjoy yourself? She said, oh, yes, I did.
It'd be packed tomorrow, that pool, then.
That's why I haven't said where it is. I've not said where it is, just in case. It's not in St Helens.
I remember when Macaulay first come to Rovers, I was coaching East Hull, and we played Skeller, or Skeller's Reserves, and we went back to Colin Hutton's old pub, but anyway, down towards the Bella Street. That's where they ran from. Macaulay was in there, and they come up, they shook hands, and I thought he was going to break my hand. You know what I mean? And you kind of took, you just, when you tapped my hair like that, and it didn't move. You know what I mean? It was just like made out of rock. They're massive.
Yeah, they're
big men.
Yeah,
strong, tough guys, and they certainly
it's
played
their
tough
national
in that
sport,
game,
isn't it? It's the only place in the world where rugby league's a national sport.
Yes, and the fanatical over it.
And we do have some fans of the show actually over in Papua New Guinea. They tune into our YouTube show, so big shout out to the Papua New Guinea contingent.
Yeah, we're going to try and get over there.
Stanley James' autobiography?
I haven't read it. No.
Brilliant. Want to read it? It really is good. Yeah.
Right.
Really good story.
Yeah, definitely look out for that then. And but yeah, the contact, particularly in the second half, they'd really stepped it up. And that first contact every single time. And that Tongan team is huge. I mean, it's a massive team, and they're tough guys as well. But they were hitting them really tough in first contacts, winning that ruck, and it did change the game. That was noticeable for me, and I think they just run out of steam. That was all it was. They just run out of steam near the end, and it's really tough. But I think when you look at the matches,
but the majority of their team play in the Queensland Cup, because they have a team in the Queensland Cup, don't they?
Yeah.
The PNG. So
which is
it's not the same standard as playing in a Test match and against NRL players, but it's a very high standard.
Yeah. It's a very good standard, very tough standard. Yeah. So they're used to playing, and they did themselves proud. Certainly. Keith, what do you think we learnt about Tonga in that game?
I was disappointed. to be honest. I thought that they was, as you said earlier on, they'd be one of the favourites. And they had some really good players on that. But I didn't think that there was as good as it was a bit like Samoa and England. They weren't as good as I thought they'd be. But England was outstanding. I think Williams had the best game he's had since he's come back from Australia. And Wellesby from St Helens, he was well, they could get rid of the number 6 and put him there because he had a really good game, a really, really good game. Once again, the span played well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I know we're going. I'm sorry if I'm going off the.
No, that's fine.
No, yeah.
But I didn't think that Samoa was as good as I thought it would be. But it's only the first game, so we'll see.
Well, those teams who've not done as well as expected, like Tonga and Samoa, I've probably got more to learn from those first round matches than some of the teams who've won, because they can, the video work they'll do after that, and they'll have a good look at themselves, and they'll know that they've not performed up to their own expectations. So, let's see how they come again after that.
Yeah. I mean, there's still got to go up, isn't there? There's 2 out of 4 that go to the quarterfinals in every group. So,
yeah.
And the Wales, Cook Island, their group is going to be an hard group as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And Dave, you attended the Wales Cook Island game as well. A couple of local lads to us, so like Ant Walker and two of the other witness lads were on display as well. But talk us through your thoughts on the Wales and Cook Island.
Well, it was courtesy of a friend of ours who's been on the show before, Mark Illingworth, who run the Super League pod, who had a ticket, and it was brilliant to catch up with Mark. He's always great entertainment, good company, and he knows the sport. There's not a player on the pitch he doesn't know the background. He's got a real head for that sort of information. And I parked up just down the road at the Flash, if anyone knows the local area in Lee. It's a lovely area to walk around.
Penny Flash.
Yeah, and I walked down to the Lee Sports Village, which is an excellent modern sports setup there. So again, the match day experience, easy parking, nice 5-10 minute stroll, caught up with Mark, and we went in and we stood behind the sticks. So it did remind me of being a youngster at Knowsley Road, going every match with you, Keith, and some others from the St Helens Crusaders, and we'd always stand behind the sticks at the home end, shouting them on. And so it was a bit of a flashback for me. But the stadium, it's a lovely modern stadium, great view. The playing surface looked great. I think there's about 6,000-7,000 on, but it felt like a lot more because it was a brilliant atmosphere. Again, it's just a different atmosphere than you get in the club game, and everyone was just there behind Wales, but they're also cheering on the Cook Islands because they're probably English supporters, but they want to see all the teams do well. So I love the atmosphere at the games. You can't beat watching one of those games live. You really can't, or not for me anyway. But then, the game. We look at the Cook Islands team and the way they came out, and they looked sharp. And I thought, it's going to be tough for Wales. We know a lot of those guys are semi-pro. I think they only had 2 full-time pro players, maybe 3. Most of the players are all semi-professional from the Championship and League One. And we were a bit worried watching them. The early exchanges, I thought the Cook Islands were kind of winning that arm wrestle a little bit. Wales were trying hard, but you thought, they're hanging in. 20 minutes, they're going to collapse. That's how I felt. I thought Cook Islands will run up 3 or 4 tries at the end of the first half, and then same again in the second half. But I was very wrong, wasn't I? I was very wrong, because this is what it does when you've got that international top on. You get an extra pair of lungs, you grow a foot taller, you get stronger, you get faster, and Wales just really, really dug in, and they gave a very good fight of it. So I don't know what it looked like on the TV, but live, it looked very evenly matched, and you left after the game just feeling so proud of Wales, knowing how hard those guys had run themselves to water. And they had a chance, didn't they? Right at the end there, the ball went out, and I think it was Gelling who it was a 3-on-1 overlap. And Gelling did really well getting his body in a position where he made it hard for the, was it Elliot K.R who had the ball? and his decision making, he was like stuck in two minds, and he eventually passed, but Gallon got a hand to it, or the Cook Island player, might have the players wrong way around here, wrong names, but he got a hand to it, and the chance was gone. So, but again, fantastic game, very evenly matched, contested. You didn't know who was going to win till right at the end, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if you got to watch it, Keith.
I thought, I watched it, and like you, I was expecting the Cook Islands. They've got some good players there, and I mean they've got a good coach, Kevin Arrow, who's been around a bit. And I thought they would have given Wales, well, not an hardy, but I thought they'd have won a bit easier than the game went. But I thought the difference was a bit of class that they had. The fact that a lot of them was, as you said, they're all NRL players, or they played at an higher standard. And then, and I thought when Brad Takarangi come on, who played for that role last year, didn't actually play for him, but he didn't play many games. But I thought he made a difference when he came on. I've heard he's gone to Keighley. I don't know how true it is, but that's what I thought. I mean, John K.R. I read somewhere where he said he was glad where they played, so that they knew it was going to be tough, but they just kept turning up for each other. They dug in deep. They couldn't have done much more than what they did. I mean, they could have won it.
Yeah.
A young kid our coach does under 18 actually played for Wales because his mother had a corgi, and this was a few years ago, and he'd never played. He got in the international, the Welsh team, and then he went playing for Newcastle Gateshead.
Right.
Just through his ancestry,
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were some kids that played, like we said earlier on, that would never ever, I won't say they would make the grade, but they would never get a chance to play. That was one of the good things about disbanding the Great Britain team. That we've got more international teams: England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. And Irish have performed pretty well as well. And we haven't mentioned them, have we?
You're right. They look very good. In fact, I was surprised that they're, I think, probably a step up from some of the teams. Scotland and Wales are a bit of a step up from that. They've got quite a few Super League players.
One thing I don't like, and I don't really like saying you're bringing players from the NRL. You know what I mean? If we didn't have the players from the NRL playing in the England team, we'd be looking to make a team, and that's half the problem with our game. We've got too many imports in it. So, because Australia won't pick somebody playing in England to play for the Australian team.
No.
Yeah.
But we mentioned this in one of our other shows, that they're in a real sort of predicament now because people are choosing to play for Tonga, Samoa, Papua New Guinea, and go out and represent Cook Islands and represent the heritage countries. Wales, Ireland, England. James Bell, he playing for Scotland.
Yeah.
And is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Yeah, probably a local lad could be losing a place, but on the other, with the shoe on the other foot, it makes us slightly more competitive to a degree as well.
As I said, he's got good points and bad points. I mean, I was lucky. I was when they brought the free transfer system in before the Bosnian ruling.
Yeah,
and it made Australian Rugby League a hell of a lot stronger because players could leave and go spread about without winning transfer fees. You know what I
mean? Yeah.
But I don't know. I've got me. I like the England Wales the split, but I'd still like to see the Great Britain team play the Australian.
Yeah, I say I'm a big advocate of Great Britain. I always, I don't know, I just think that's our best team. You want to put your best team out.
That's right.
And I think with England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland, we dilute it. And then obviously we have to fill that with another 19, 20-man squad.
Yeah.
And so, is each one of them layered with the best? Whereas a GB team, I still think we should have England, Ireland, Scotland, and then a GB in like a tri-series with or like a Five Nations competition or something.
Yeah.
I think because
it's like the Olympic Games. We put Great Britain squads in all the different sports, in the Olympic Games and we do well. But when we have the Commonwealth Games, we don't do that well.
No.
As a group, it gives more people the chance of playing international rugby, like having an England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales team that wouldn't get in on a chance of playing, which we said earlier on.
Absolutely,
so, yes,
absolutely.
That's a good point to it.
Yeah, it is. It is a very, very good plus point of that system, and like I say, I'm all for it. I just don't think we should overlook a Great Britain game.
John Casey, I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity to represent my country on this big stage, and that's that sums it up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so moving on in the World Cup, then. We've got another mouth-watering set of rounds coming up, but let's push on. Who do we think is going to make them quarterfinals? Keith, I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's have your wisdom and your thoughts on this one.
Well, England's going to get in. Australia's going to get in. I hope Ireland get in. I'm just trying to look through the groups now in my mind. New Zealand should get in, I think. The bottom squad, what we've just been talking about, Wales, Cook Islands, France, and who else is in their group?
Italy are in.
They did well. Italy did well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably between Italy and Fiji through that group. I think Ireland and New Zealand, the biggest game there is, or the biggest challenge comes probably from Lebanon.
They did really well, I was super impressed with Lebanon.
Yeah.
But they're the majority of them are
NRL. Yeah.
Which that's what the world's all about. That's why Australia grew, because that many immigrants went over there, so they've got the chance of playing. You know what I mean? Which they would never have had anyway. So
yeah. Greece as well. I was made up for Greece.
Yeah.
They seem to.
There's another one. I mean, that was against the laws to play rugby league 6 months ago. I couldn't make
banned.
That.
Yeah, banned by law. How mad's that?
Law, you can't play rugby league.
But they managed to do it like some secret underground society. Ringing your mates on encrypted WhatsApp. Fancy game of rugby tonight.
Paponis, the coach. He's been with them 20 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And the look on his face at the end of that game was worth £1 million, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How well they'd played.
Do we know why they banned it? Do we know why it was banned?
Oh, it was something to do with money. I did read it somewhere, but I can't remember where I read it. They couldn't create. I don't know. I'm waffling now.
We'll look into that. No, we'll look into it because I'm sure it'll be an interesting story. We should do a show on that on its own, maybe with the previous ban in France, which is quite historical, isn't it? Yeah. I think when people watched me and Keith play rugby, they thought we'd been banned as well. The way
most of the time, I was banned, Dave.
Keith spent most of his
time. I had
my
own parking place.
Match review panel.
Headquarters.
So, and then, who do we think will make the final then? Who?
Well, I think it'll be England and Australia.
Yeah.
Again.
And how do you think we'll fare in a final against Australia?
If we play as well as we did in the first game, we've a chance. Because going back to the players coming from the NRL, they know the Australian players.
Yeah.
And they know what they can do and what they can't do.
Yeah, they're not an unknown quantity coming over.
Don't get me wrong, the Australians are the best in the world. There's no doubt about it. But they're beatable. That's a good thing about rugby league. You can always win. It don't matter how low you get. I once went to Widnes with Keighley and beat him in the Challenge Cup. And unfortunately, our chairman dropped dead at half time. And it's not a funny thing, but he actually did. Wow. And we beat him. He come in. I can remember him coming in and saying, "Right, lad, you're on another fiver." It was on 14 quid a win in them days with Keighley. And he said, "You're on another fiver if you can beat him." And we went out. Remember Jeff Crowdson playing? Big Jeff.
Yeah.
Second row. Well, yeah, he said, "It's another fiver, right?" We went out and we beat him. And when we come back in after the game, we're jubilant because we won. The people in the dressing room was couple of blokes was crying, and I said to Jeff, Jesus, it wasn't that good a win. You know what I mean? And then they dropped the bombshell that Norman Mitchell had collapsed at half time.
Wow.
And he died in the ambulance going back to the hospital.
Yeah.
Did
you get your fiver though?
Pardon?
Did you get your fiver?
Oh, I would get off that. It was funny, like, and obviously the dressing room went deathly hush, you know, and Jeff's and Norman's son had come in as well, and to announce about his father, and Jeff broke the silence. He said, "Does that mean there's not stopping for a parts on way back?" Anyway, as I say, teams can be beaten.
Yes, they can indeed.
Yeah, I think England will go well. I'm going to put my neck out there and say they're going to win. I think they're going to meet Australia.
Being at home, I think with as good a chance. At the beginning, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think we'd win a game when I first saw the squad.
Yeah,
I want, you know, but I'll eat humble pie. I don't mind being wrong.
No, we're going to win the final. I reckon we're going to have a 20-point gap in between who we beat.
20?
Yeah.
I won't go that far.
Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm saying it.
You heard it first here, folks. Dave Pye back in England by 20. Right. Yeah. Get your money on.
Yeah. Dave said.
The opposite.
Yeah. By 20 pints. I mean points.
Points, yeah.
Pints, yeah. You might we might have won 20 pounds still before.
Yeah, it's hotting up, isn't it? There's some good teams. I think we'll see more from some of those teams, and we haven't seen enough yet. And I want to see more from Samoa. I want to see more from Tonga. I'm looking forward to watching Ireland again and then be tested because I think they look like a real good.
I want to see Ireland again because we've got 3 players in the Irish team.
Right. Yeah.
George King has been outstanding since he come to us.
Yeah, I really like George King. Yeah, he's been exceptional, hasn't he? A very, very busy forward, and he does the same job regardless of who he's up against. He doesn't seem to change his game, and he sets his standards quite high, and he keeps to them. So, yeah, I agree. I think they'll go well. I look forward to watching them. I think Jamaica will struggle, and Wales will struggle in the games. I think they've done exceptionally well first up. It's even harder then to back that up in a second game with a short turnaround to raise it again. I hope they go well, but I think they may struggle. But we'll see. And Australia, as you've pointed out, Keith, they're the best in the world. We know that. Even if they've not picked the best 13, they'll still be the best team because they've got an embarrassment of riches in that Australian NRL and that squad. So, but yeah, they're beatable. So
if the league click. I'm not a lover of that. Song don't sound right. I don't know him that well. That Cherry Evans. I think Cleary is the best scrum half I've seen for a long while. But it's like that with Meninga. Which one he's going to pick? You know what I mean? I think we'd stand a better chance if Cherry Evans is playing than we will if Cleary's playing. He is some lovely player, that kid.
I'm surprised. You know, they've got so many good halves over there, and Dale Cherry's obviously a brilliant player, but he's been around a little while now, and often the players are being pushed out by around now, and he's not. He's kept his place, but we'll see. We'll see how they go. You mentioned Italy before. Really impressed with Italy, and of course, they've got some Australians, but they're representing the heritage, and they went well. So we'll see how they get on in the following games, and Samoa have to raise their standards. They really have to.
They've got to stay in it. They're going to be in big trouble if they don't be very impressive on the next couple of games. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, you can pretty much just go straight to the final now because England are going to win. You may as well just give them the cup now. We'll save all the. You don't have to complain about ticket prices then. You know, save your money. Give them the World Cup.
Yeah. You just go to the final. Yeah.
Just watch it on iPlayer. Don't even go. Just don't even turn up. Just watch it on iPlayer. 10 o'clock at night with a kebab, and when you're about 10 pints deep.
Yeah.
In your pants.
Yeah, with a kebab, bit of lettuce on though to get your vitamins.
Yeah.
And
chili sauce, garlic sauce.
A brandy and a drop of Coke.
If Greece get to the final, the kebab would go down well, wouldn't it? If we start watching Greece.
Yeah, that would.
Giro.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a gyro. If Italy get there, we'll have pasta. England get there, we'll have
Fish and
pies.
Fish and chips, yeah, fish and
Haggis
fish
if Scotland get there.
Right.
Help me out here, guys. I'm running out of ideas.
Tatties and neeps. Tatties and neeps for a Scotland lad.
Once went to a Bairns night one night. You know, they piped in the haggis. And I was sat there and this bloke coming and they're carrying the haggis like this on a plate. It's all steaming and the piper's there in front of it. And I said, geez, have they killed that pig? It's still squealing. They got throughout. All these sweaty socks was going by me.
What about the Irish? What's their famous dish? Stew? Irish stew?
Yeah. Guinness. Stew and Guinness.
Guinness?
Haggis. Guinness.
Guinness.
You don't have to eat there, just drink Guinness.
Just drink Guinness. Yeah.
It's a meal in itself, Guinness. You don't, no. It's full of vitamins and iron and everything. Just have 17 pints of Guinness.
Guinness usually to go in hospital, didn't they? I remember my mother worked at Kingston General Hospital, and they used to give the old people bottles of Guinness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, medicinal purposes.
Shall we just wrap this up and go to the pub? Because I'm dying for a pint now.
I'm now gagging.
Where do you want to meet, Keith?
Should we go to Griffin?
We'll bring the pies. Yeah. You get the first 3 pints in.
We'll go to Dublin then.
Oh yeah, let's just go to Dublin. Let's just have it off. Go to Dublin and we'll do a podcast in a bar with a load of Guinness.
Yeah, that'd be good. That's great fun.
Well, that brings us to the end of this little Rugby League World Cup catch-up. From myself and Dave, Keith, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. We are going to get you back on another show where we're going to talk about your career as an author and your career as a rugby league professional, and you've coached, and there's so much we want to talk and discuss with you. But we're going to do that in another show because we've run out of time today. But from myself and Dave, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody watching the Dockhouse Rugby Show, or if you're listening on the Dockhouse Rugby Pod, don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. You've been watching the Dockhouse Rugby Show. The Dockhouse Rugby Show is proud to support the Teardrops Homeless Charity. Teardrops, supporting your community.